Right now, you probably think of a good night's sleep as one solid block. You close your eyes, and the next thing you know, it's morning. Lights off, phone down, out until the alarm. Here's the strange part: that one block's sleep might be one of the newest habits in your entire species. Not newer than clothes, but newer than fire, newer than tools, newer in some ways than farming. For most of human history, sleeping straight through until morning wasn't the norm, it was the exception. Ancient humans figured out how to grow crops before they figured out how to sleep the way you did last night. The question is, if we didn't always sleep like this, how did ancient humans actually do it? And when and why did we switch? Let's go back to the beginning. Humans are strange sleepers, even compared to other primates. Most primates don't sleep in one long block. They doze in short bursts, high in the trees, always half alert. Orangutans build a brand new sleeping nest from scratch every single night. A wild chimpanzee might wake up a dozen times before dawn. Somewhere along the way, our ancestors stopped doing that. A lot of researchers think fire is the reason. At Wonderwork Cave in South Africa, archaeologists found burned bone and ash dating back roughly a million years, some of the earliest solid evidence of humans deliberately controlling fire. Once early humans could keep flames burning through the night, something shifted. Predators back off, the dark gets less dangerous. For maybe the first time, it becomes possible to lie down on the ground, close your eyes, and stay asleep for a long stretch. Fire didn't just cook dinner, it may have invented sleeping through the night as we know it. A million years of campfires, and we still burn the marshmallows. But here's where it gets messy. Our best window into ancient sleep doesn't come from archaeology at all. It comes from people alive right now. In 2015, UCLA sleep researcher Jerome Siegel led a study on three groups still living without electricity: the Hadza in Tanzania, the San in Namibia, and the Tsimane in Bolivia. No light bulbs, no screens, no alarm clocks. About as close to an ancient sleep environment as anyone can study today. The results surprised a lot of people. These groups slept about 6.5 to 7 hours a night, less than the 8 we're told to aim for. They fell asleep hours after sunset, not right at dark. Almost none of them napped, even in brutal midday heat. And most importantly, they slept in one continuous block, not segmented, not broken up, one stretch, start to finish. Siegel's team found sleep onset tracked more closely with a drop in temperature after dark than with darkness itself. Their bodies were reading the cold, not the calendar. So maybe ancient humans did sleep through the night after all. Except, here's a mountain of historical evidence that says otherwise. Historian Roger Eckhart spent over a decade digging through diaries, court records, and medical texts from pre-industrial Europe. Again and again, he found the same phrase: first sleep and second sleep. People would go to bed a couple hours after dark, sleep a few hours, then wake up. Not panicked, not tossing and turning. This waking period was expected. They'd pray, talk quietly with a bedmate, do small chores, even visit neighbors. Then, after an hour or so, they'd lie back down for a second sleep until morning. Centuries of ordinary people across an entire continent, splitting the night in half on purpose. Eckhart even traces some of our language back to it. That quiet, watchful stretch between the two sleeps is one reason we still say the dead of night. So which is it? One block, like the Hadza and the San today, or two, like pre-industrial Europeans? Here's what makes this actually important. It's probably both, depending on where and when you lived. Equatorial groups get roughly 12 hours of darkness year-round, with a steady temperature drop that cues one long sleep. Northern Europe has brutally long winter nights, 16 hours of darkness or more, plenty of time to fill with a middle-of-the-night waking period. Same species, wildly different environments, wildly different sleep habits. Sleep was never one universal ancient template. It bent to whatever world you happened to be sleeping in. So what flattened all of that into today's single-block expectation? Artificial light, gas lamps in the 1800s, then Edison's incandescent bulb after 1879, pushed bedtimes later and shrank the actual dark hours people spent in bed. In the 1990s, psychiatrist Thomas Ware proved this in a lab. He put volunteers in a room with 14 hours of darkness a night, no clocks, no lights, for about a month. Within weeks, without anyone telling them to, Their sleep split in two: a block of sleep, an hour or two of quiet wakefulness, then another block. Give modern humans enough dark hours, and the old pattern comes right back. Think about that. Two-part sleep wasn't a glitch. Our modern one-block sleep might be the newer, more artificial one. Which brings us to you, waking up at 3 a.m., staring at the ceiling, assuming something's wrong. Maybe nothing is. Eckhart has pointed out that modern complaints about waking in the middle of the night line up almost exactly with what used to be a completely normal, expected stretch of the night. We didn't get worse at sleeping. We just lost the instruction manual and started treating a very old habit like a malfunction. There's an entire industry built around that panic. Trackers, apps, supplements, all selling the idea that one unbroken block is the only correct way to sleep, and anything else means you're broken. For most of human history, it was the other way around. So here's the full picture. Humans likely started sleeping in longer, safer stretches once fire pushed back the nighttime dangers about 1 million years ago. Some communities near the equator kept that one block pattern all the way to today. Others, in places with long, dark winters, split the night in two for centuries as just normal life. Then, in roughly 150 years, artificial light rewired the whole thing into the single, solid block we now treat as the only correct way to sleep. So next time you jolt awake at 3 a.m. and reach for your phone to check what's wrong with you, maybe nothing is. You might just be doing what people did for most of history, pausing quietly in the dark, somewhere between a first sleep and a second one. Being human doesn't come with one factory setting. It comes with a few, built for very different worlds, and we're still carrying every one of them around with us, whether the light's on or not. If you're into the weird, ancient reasons behind stuff you do without thinking, stick around. There's a lot more buried in ordinary habits than you'd guess.